The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools. If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Eric Frandsen, Ajay, Salvesen.
Eric.
Still trying to pick ourselves up off the floor.
Yeah. You know, I've got something that will help you, though. In Lincoln, Nebraska, Ander Christensen is, he went to city council for you, Eric. He went to bat for you and asked that restaurants remove the return boneless chicken wings from their menus. They're just chicken tenders, he says. Eric, he's thinking about you. And he looks like one of the guys who's off the Beatles. Maybe 40 years older, but he's going to bat for you, Eric. Hey, we wish you the best, Andrew Christensen, and no longer will I have to say boneless chicken wings. I can call whoever and say, can I just get some chicken tenders? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
That's a great video. People start laughing, and he turns around and he's like, excuse me, I'm trying to...
And he's so, yeah, dude,
he's like, so
hey,
serious.
Don't offend me.
It's so funny.
I
had to share that with some friends today. It was good stuff.
Hey, Bowie, thanks for my Pick 6 gift. That cookie was delicious.
Did you like that?
Yeah, where'd you get that from?
Yeah, local cafe here in town.
Dude, it was good.
Yeah.
I need to go cookie myself again. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I'll let you know off the air.
Okay, cool. Eric, talking and venting about Game 7 in the first hour, feel better or feel worse? Because I still feel like crap. I'm not going to lie to you right now. For our listeners who are just joining in, and welcome to the Full Court Press, if you want to text in and share your feelings, let it out. It's a safe place, sort of. 435-339-0321. Or if you want to call in and voice your frustration, you are more than welcome to. 435-752-1069. And again, text in at 435-339-0321. Better, worse? I still feel like crap, to be honest.
Yeah. Still feel down about it. I know I'm going to get asked, and people are going to want to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
More. And I have to resign myself to that.
And you have to be so, like, courteous and nice and professional. You can't, like, scream and yell and cry. You have to be like, yeah, you know what? They gave it their best. And you have to be so nice about it and cordial. And, oh, my goodness, it's been a rough not even 24 hours yet. We looked at some of the plays. The Jokic, where he's in the key for 10 seconds, and then decides to throw up a right-hand prayer of a hook shot, and it goes in. Like, over Gobert. And he had also hit a floater, too, to Mike Conley's last shot. And, that ball was halfway in. That ball was, I was sad after the play happened. I was devastated after they slow-mowed the ball going halfway in and then out.
That was so brutal.
I was sickened.
So brutal. It was a good look.
Great look.
The fact that that Denver runs down there and chooses not to chew up clock.
Yeah, to go and the fact that Craig misses it.
Attempt a layup. And when they were running down there and they go at the rim, I'm like, it's over. Well, as soon as Donovan fell down and lost the ball, like, it's over.
It's over.
And then to have that happen, then all of a sudden, maybe there's hope. Conley, he's out running. Conley's got to look. It's for the win.
I thought it was good. Like when it looked, and then we don't have a great view. We're looking at the TV screen. But even like when he let it go, I thought it was in. I thought it was money. That thing looked so freaking good. And then it halfway rims in and decides to pop out. And you see Donovan collapse to the floor and you're devastated. You see Joe with his hands on his knees. Quinn's kind of just sombering off. And it's just... And you know what's interesting? Listening to Quinn, Conley, and Mitchell, they all said the exact same thing. Most devastating loss of their career thus far.
Let's actually hear from Coach Snyder.
Yeah, let's do
his
it.
comments after the game last night, after the Jazz lose by 2 in really defensive Game 7. Guys were hitting the deck. It was more physical than we've seen in these playoffs. The Jazz come up just a little bit too short. Here is Quinn Snyder, Utah Jazz head coach, following the loss last night.
This game tonight, it's one of the toughest losses that I think that I've been involved with, and on many levels what this team's been through since we were in Oklahoma City, and the season was stopped. What we went through over a period of months to have this group come back together here in Orlando, and just to see the competitiveness, the unselfishness, the team that really came together and grew, and you wish we would have had a chance to keep playing. I think that's the thing that hurts the most right now. And congratulations, Denver was terrific. The way they competed too. I thought both teams just competed, but as far as our group goes, this was a group that I think was an extreme privilege to coach and to be around over the past couple months. And it's as unique a situation, and one that I think we'll look back on with everything that's happened in our country, with social justice, with COVID. To see a group of players come together like that around such a difficult time, I think is something that I'll remember and is incredibly special.
Okay, thank you for that, Coach. We'll go ahead now and get started. Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Hey, Quinn. Just given everything that you just mentioned, given everything that this team has gone through, and to then be on the verge of advancing to the second round and blowing a 3-1 series lead, what did you have to say to the team in the aftermath of this game when they came up just that much short?
Yeah, I guess I would prefer not to say that we blew a 3-1 lead. I know that that's maybe semantics, but the way that we competed tonight, and what's happened over the last week in particular, I'm just unbelievably proud of the way that we competed. And what I remember about tonight is we were dead in the water in the first half. We weren't playing well in a lot of ways, and our group just kept grinding and kept competing. And that's, to me, as significant as anything that happened in the game.
All right, next question, David James, KUTV.
Quinn, it looked like Donovan was getting going there offensively, but he had to guard Murray too. Did that slow him down offensively a little bit? Did you make a concerted effort to get other guys involved? What happened there?
I think the entire game was just such a competitive, hard-fought game that there was just nothing that was easy. We wanted to have different people guard Jamal. Obviously, he's had a terrific series and is a great player. And Royce was on him, Mike was on him. Donovan really, at a certain point, felt like he really wanted to guard him. And we had other guys that could take some of the load offensively. Donovan Mitchell has had, an incredible series on so many levels. And tonight may not look like his best game of the series, but in many ways, I felt like his character came out tonight as much as any other time, because nothing was easy the entire game. He defended, he attacked, and more than anything, he competed on a level that's unique.
Next up, Sarah Todd, Deseret News.
Quinn, what happened at halftime to make that? Like you said, the team, it was dead in the water in the first half, and then it seemed like the mood and the attitude completely changed in the second.
Well, we were struggling offensively early in the game. They were trapping, pick and roll, and their length and size was difficult for us to play against. And we missed some shots, but the floor was really. They shrunk the floor, so to speak. I think as we got closer to halftime, we found a little momentum, trying to really just open the floor up and attack, whether it be just driving the ball in space, or playing some small pick and roll. But we were in foul trouble in the first half too, so that knocked us back. But I thought at the end of the second quarter, when Rudy was out with foul trouble, that group that was in there, and really, as much as anything, Royce O'Neal, the job that he guarded Murray, he guarded Jokic, and during that time, I thought, our team, found life, and that continued through halftime. We just knew it was going to be, difficult. It's always hard to come back, and particularly in a Game 7, but we did find a little something as far as energy, and just kept playing. That was the biggest thing.
Alrighty, Ben Anderson, KSL Sports.
Quinn, teams seem to have to take these lumps in their climbs to the playoffs. What did you learn from your team in this playoff series versus maybe what you had learned in years past?
Well, I think it's hard to compare, teams across different years. This series obviously was different in many ways. But I think, speaking for this group, and it's something that you felt going in, that this group had. It's a group with high character and competitiveness, and the game presents you with all kinds of challenges. Like I said, these past months, there's been, even more things for everyone to try to absorb and process and then to compete. So, what I'll remember about this group and this experience is, the fact I wish we would have won the game, obviously, but I think we can be unbelievably proud of the way that we competed.
Okay, last question, Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Quinn, I know this is a tough question, just like coming minutes after a defeat, but where do you kind of go from here? Obviously, we've talked so much about not having Boyan and having to make adjustments. And have you thought at all about, where you want the team to, what you want the team to look like going forward?
I think you answered the question for me. Right now, I think everybody is emotionally spent, and we're gonna try to deal with this loss. Have a lot of gratitude for the opportunity that we've had here. Whatever's going to go on going forward, that's not something right now that I've given thought to. I'm sure that'll happen at some point, but right now, I'm proud to have had the opportunity to coach this team. It's been a unique group. The way that the game went tonight, as hard fought as it was emblematic of what this year was like.
Again, that's Quinn Snyder, head coach of the Utah Jazz. Some of his comments following the loss last night. One of the hardest losses in his career, he said.
You think about that, and he's had some hard ones. He's had some Game 7 losses in his own career. He's had some tough losses in playoffs, and in fact, I still remember, Eric. I still remember my first year working with the Utah Jazz Radio Network as an engineer, and it was the media locker cleanout day. This was after Utah Jazz had played the Dallas Mavericks, and at home, a win gets Utah into the playoffs with Quinn Snyder as the head coach. And what do you know? Resurrecting Darren Williams scores 18 points in the first half. Nowitzki finishes with 37. And Dallas beats the Jazz to squeak into the playoffs and knock the Jazz out. And then the next night, they needed Houston to lose to Sacramento. That didn't happen, and the Jazz were out. We're at Media Locker Cleanout. Dan, I think I've told this story before. And I'm the last one there. I'm cleaning up our stuff. And it's Quinn and John Reinhardt, who at the time was the PR president for the Utah Jazz. Wonderful man. And Quinn gets done with us. And again, it's just us three, John, Quinn, and me. And I kind of stopped what I was doing and looked at Quinn. He was leaning over a rail, just staring like aimlessly into the distance. And John's talking to him like, hey, get out of here. Go on vacation. Go spend some time with your kids. I don't think he was married yet with his beautiful wife, Amy, yet. But he said, go spend some time with your kids. Get out of here. Call me if you need anything, but we're not going to let any media talk to you. I've eliminated all press coverage from you as well. So you're good to just have some freedom for a while, and then call me if you need anything. And Quinn didn't move. Quinn didn't look at him. Quinn didn't blink. You could tell how sick he was because he lost to Dallas in his first full year as a coach, Eric. His first full year, he lost to Dallas. Dirk Nowitzki, Rick Carlisle, and this veteran playoff team who had been there, done that. And he lost to him, and he was just so devastated by that. And this must have killed him. Like, that's amazing. 5763, I don't want to miss your text. texted in. If you want to text in, you can do so at 435-339-0321. Again, 435-339-0321. Or if you want to call in, 435-752-1069. He texted in 5763 does, and I love his point. It was hard to tell, but it almost looked like Donovan was ready at the three-point line. This is on the final play, Eric, for that last shot. Not sure if Rudy saw him. What's most disappointing is that it feels like the Jazz dominated the series, yet they lost. Does that even make sense? Yes and no. Because yes, it makes sense that they dominated the series and still lost. But no, it doesn't make sense because how do you dominate games 2, 3, and 4 and then get just outclassed?
And in the first half of Game 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the first 24 minutes of Game 5 they dominated. And then get outclassed the entire rest of the way. How does that happen?
Because they even played them tight in Game 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Overtime was great. Yeah, overtime game. It does make sense when it doesn't. Like I said, what he's saying makes sense, but how does that happen doesn't. And I know Quinn I don't like to use the whole blew a 3-1 series lead, but that's exactly what happened. You either say that or else you say you choked. It's one of those two, buddy. You got to pick it. That's the way it is when you have a 3-1 series lead. Up by 15 in Game 5, middle way through the third, and you lose. And then you lose Game 6, and then you lose Game 7. And which, by the way, you were getting routed in Game 7 for the first 24 minutes of basketball. It's frustrating, man. And
regarding the earlier point about Donovan Mitchell, Donovan didn't run down with the rest of the team on defense after he fumbled the ball. And so he was lagging behind.
But Plumlee was back there too.
Well, I don't know how far how much Plumlee stayed back with Donovan. I'm not sure on that. I haven't really seen a full court view of the whole play.
Court view of it, yeah.
But it did look like Donovan was standing at the 3-point line with his arms raised, ready to receive the ball. But you know what? I don't fault that sequence and how it played out. Because, look, Rudy gets a rebound, which was unexpected, quickly finds an outlet to Mike Conley, who's a great ball handler and is fast, and Mike Conley just zooming down the court with his eyes on one thing, the game clock, trying to make sure he can cover enough distance to get a good shot off, which he did. So should he have looked for Donovan and found Donovan, who looked like he was wide open in the corner or in the side? Maybe, but you know what? I'm not going to put that on him because, as you've said, it looked like Plumlee could have been back there and maybe even playing free safety and could have picked that off.
Do you know what really would have helped? Is that timeout that Royce had to waste because he got stuck in the corner because he picked up his dribble. If he has that timeout available, Rudy catches the rebound. You know the Jazz, Joe Ingles, you got veterans on the team, smart enough to scream timeout. You've got a solid, what did they have, 4 seconds, give or take?
About 4 seconds, 3.5, 4 seconds.
Which gives you plenty of time to catch, set, shoot, based on where you're at. If you have that timeout and Quinn designs from an out-of-bounds play and you're already advanced, boy, I mean, again.
Well, you say that, but they had a timeout to run an out-of-bounds play, and they messed it up twice.
Messed it. Yeah, well, and Joe threw it in to Royce, and you could tell Quinn didn't want that. And Royce has to use the timeout. Quinn didn't want that. Dude, how does Donovan not break loose of Harris? Was it that good a D, or was he being held? I mean, for him,
I think it was good D, and Donovan's legs were
just
not
jello.
really there.
Yeah, nobody's legs were there by the end of that game, huh? Sickening to lose like that. Sickening to see Mike Conley, who went 2 of 13 and has not won a Game 7 in his career, now 0-4, see a ball go halfway in and then halfway out. All the way out. It sucks. I hate basketball. I'm never watching the NBA ever again.
I find that hard to believe.
Eric, when we come back for break, you and I had a very vehement discussion that I feel like I was winning before Dan Patrick interrupted you.
You had a what? We had a what discussion?
A vehement discussion.
A vehement. What's a vehement discussion?
It's called so vehement means like intense, a very loud, intense argument.
Is that like venison?
No, that's like deer meat, isn't it?
Is that what you're trying to say? We had a venison discussion?
No, dude, that's meat. Now, deer meat's really good, by the way, if you cook it right. But vehement, Eric, is intense.
Are you trying to say vehement?
It's not even a word.
I think you're trying to say vehement.
That's not no, don't, Eric. That's not even a word. So stop it.
Vehement is not a word.
Yes, it is. Vehement discussion. You're lying to me. You're lying to me.
What was the discussion about? We'll move past that word.
It was I was talking about how we need to let go of Royce O'Neal, and I explained 3 good reasons why, and you denied all 3 good reasons. So I'm not sure where to put you here. I would love to hear a listener's take on this, though.
Yeah, I was looking at where do the Jazz go from here.
Yes.
We at the tail end of last hour, we kind of went through the roster to look at guys you keep, guys you let go, guys maybe you could use for trades to bring somebody else in. Let's do that again quickly and talk about Royce O'Neal specifically, about why he absolutely needs to stay.
Well, he doesn't.
And why.
Might as well keep George
Ajay
Niang.
Thinks he's worth that.
Might as well keep Tony Bradley.
George Niang is worth starting over Royce O'Neal. We'll talk about that next on Full Court Press.
Horrible.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wees T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio. The Fan.
Royce O'Neal, does he have a future in a Jazz uniform, or should he be included in some kind of a trade to bring somebody else in to help Donovan Mitchell?
435-339-0321 to text him, or 435-752-1069 to call him. Okay, so Eric, let's rehash what we've already kind of discussed in regards of who we're keeping and contract situation-wise. Mike Conley has $34 million due next season. I agree. I think they should keep him. I believe you said the same thing, right?
That's weird. Anyway. You can continue.
Hi, welcome back to the Full Court Press,
You
Eric.
can continue.
When you're ready. I mean, yeah, if you're ready. So let's go back to where we were at with the with where the Utah Jazz team sits, contract situation, through the roster so far. Mike Conley is due $34 million next season. Keep him, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer.
They're paying him more than what he's worth to the team.
Yes.
But I think that there's a real sense that Conley found his way with the team and was a significant asset to the team moving forward. I thought he played well just before the break. I thought he played well in the bubble. I thought he played well in the playoffs. I think he's a good addition. I think he takes pressure off Donovan in handling the ball, but ultimately Donovan, his natural position will be as point guard.
Rudy Gobert. He's due $26 million next year. This is definitely very possible on the rise. If he makes an All-NBA team, he will get a supermax contract.
Well, he's eligible for that.
He's eligible one. You're crazy. He's going to get one. If he's eligible, he's going to get one. That means you're looking at about $220 million with a supermax. $220 million for the Stifle Tower.
I think that's too much.
What? For Gobert?
I think he's worth paying a lot of money, but I don't know if he's worth supermax money.
Wow. Okay, so here's what they can do. According to ESPN.com. Okay. In fact, Bobby Marks, who wrote this article, agrees with you. Can I read it just quickly, get through a part? Gobert is one of the top defenders in the NBA and an important player. But the contract would average more than $51 million as he's eligible, Eric, for a 5-year, $221 million supermax contract. The Jazz should not, according to Bobby Marks, and likely will not, according to Bobby Marks, entertain the idea of extending him to such a contract. Again,
right? Is he Kevin Durant level? Is he Steph Curry level?
Nobody's Steph Curry or Kevin Durant level.
Well, that's the kind of money they're earning.
They can offer Gobert a 4-year, $133 million extension. The new contract would also include a total of $17.5 million in likely bonuses, $1.5 million in unlikely incentives, and the total will come out to $151 million, which is $10 million more than a team with cap space in 2021 can offer. Or they can offer him a 5-year, $189 million extension. This is not a full supermax, and the Jazz are permitted to start at 30% in the first year. Or again, offer him the full supermax, which again is $221 million. He is worth every single penny of that. Tell me, give me good reasons why he's not worthy of being paid $221 million based on what he does alone defensively.
So he's done pretty good at keeping himself healthy, but yeah. I always worry about a defensive first player commanding that kind of money because we've seen it backfire too many times. Ben Wallace with the Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
Andre Kirilenko with the Utah Jazz.
Yes.
Those guys, defensive first guys, they put themselves in positions that they can get hurt, and they'll be hurt for a while. I think that Rudy is definitely, absolutely a key contributor to Utah's defense. It is the heart and soul of Utah defensively. But I don't think he offensively is to that same level. I think he's improved a lot. I think he is a big-time contributor to the offense. And certainly he has shown that in the reset and in the playoffs. But he was also going up against a really good center. And so it was easy for him to be involved and engaged. But when you show him up against the growing trend in the NBA to have more guards and playmakers on the floor, he's not quite as effective. So I believe me, I would love to pay Rudy a lot of money. I just don't think he's worth super max money. For the reason that the defensive or the injury prone, the defensive players can be a little more injury prone, and I don't think he's that big of an impact offensively. I think he has a good impact offensively, not a huge impact offensively, but also that hampers the team from being able to add additional pieces to help put a full team together, even a bench together to help.
Who are they going to get though? Honestly, who are they going to get? I mean, and the quality productive guys, not George Niang's, not Tony Bradley's, not Royce O'Neal's. Quality productive guys. Rudy Gobert, he anchors the defense. You look at how many times it was Mitchell, Ingles, Yang, Morgan. Hell, Eric, at one point he was on the court with Juwan Morgan, with George Niang, Joe Ingles, and they were all getting toasted. And you know what? Rudy Gobert was having to pick up for their trash the whole entire night. That's what he does. And the whole they're off to get hurt or whatever. Don't give Donovan Mitchell the full contract extension because he could get hurt, by the way. He could get hurt. He could tear his ACL and be done. Every player...
Guys who are defense first guys, they run up into more injuries. Draymond Green is injured more often than Steph Curry or Klay Thompson.
No, he's not. Not more than Steph Curry. Steph Curry gets more hurt than Draymond Green. Steph Curry has had ankle problems for quite some time. So, but I mean, if you want to put Andrew Bogut on that list, absolutely. Greg Oden, yes. But Rudy Gobert, for the most part, has stayed healthy. And again, a back-to-back defensive player of the year and a guy who probably should have finished second in the voting this year and didn't because of Anthony Davis, because of popularity, the fact that he's in LA. The guy is worth $221 freaking million. And if not, they better A, have a dang good reason why, and B, pay him at least $189.
Well, in a few years, you'll have a situation where you could have both Donovan and Rudy at supermax contracts. You're going to tie up a big, significant portion of your salary availability on just those two guys.
That's in a few years. We don't know what a few years is going to look like. We don't know if Rudy's going to... We don't know if Donovan...
Well, as a GM, you have to plan. You have to look down the road. That's why you put these contracts together. You need flexibility.
There's never been flexibility with Utah and rosters because it's Salt Lake City. There's never been flexibility with that, and there never will be. You need... And the roster is going to be as it... You're not going to see major names come into Utah and say, I want to play for you.
Why not? Boyan came. That's a big name. Ed Davis came over. Jeff Green came over.
Ed Davis is a big name.
He was a good player in Brooklyn. He didn't work out in Utah. But he was an impact player for
Joe
Brooklyn.
Johnson, yes.
Yeah, there's another one.
George Hill, yes.
Okay, you're helping my point.
Those were end of veteran people. George Hill is not in his prime. Was not in his prime when he came here. Joe Johnson was not in his prime when he came here.
George Hill was in his prime.
No, he was not.
Absolutely.
No, he was not. His prime was when he was with Indiana. His prime was not when he was in Utah. He was on the latter edges of his career. And he really, now he is at the edge of his career. Now he's just playing for a title. Joe Johnson was the same thing. Rudy Gobert is $189 or $221 million guy. Anything less than that, I say no. It's an insult, and I leave.
9315 texts in, I think we need more big bodies on the floor like Rudy. It would have helped us less mismatches.
Yes, absolutely. And Tony Bradley's too soft. Ed Davis was not productive at all whatsoever.
Yeah, Ed Davis is a wash. Tony Bradley's young, and I think that he is a project, but I think he's improving. I don't think he's the future, but I think he's
well, then that's the problem.
Serviceable backup.
So wait, are we going to just be like, hey, look, he's improving, so let's keep him, even though he's not the future? Like that's where we're at. Is if he's not the future, then what do we have him there for?
Well, you keep Joe Ingles and Royce O'Neal. They're not the future stars of the team, but you keep them and you develop them.
No,
because they're key contributors.
Joe Ingles is there you go. Joe Ingles is a key contributor. Tony Bradley is not. Tony Bradley is not a contributor at all. At all, period, whatsoever, in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't belong on an NBA court. G League, yes. In fact, even when he was on the G League, he wasn't.
In your NBA world, either you come in right away and contribute and dominate your position, or you're not worthy of being on a roster.
Tony Bradley,
Utah Jazz have to develop players.
Even dominate.
They're not in a position to just throw money around.
He was playing for the Jazz, and he wasn't even dominating in the G League for the Stars. He wasn't even the best player on the court in the G League at times. Not even the best player in his position on the court at times. A lot of times. But yet, for whatever reason, we have this obsession with him. Now, granted, Eric, one thing I like is that the fact that Derek Favors is available for a veteran minimum. I'm not sure where the veteran minimum is right now, but I know it's cheap enough that the Jazz could pay for him and not hit the luxury cap. Now, again, the Jazz are not a luxury cap penalty team. They don't like to be. But Dennis Lindsay said before the season, I think he echoed it in the All-Star break, before or after free agency, that he said if we need to hit the luxury penalty to get where we want to be, we'll do it.
Derek Favors does have an expiring contract. He earned $17.6 million this year.
Okay. So if he's on an expiring contract, what would be the NBA veteran minimum? That would be what is that, like $2 million? No, I think
they'd have to pay Derek more than that.
Yeah, because it's based on veteran. Isn't it based on like years of experience or something like that? And Derek has what, 9? 9? So you're looking at around $3 million, I think, would be the veteran minimum. $3 million.
Yeah, based on years, Derek Favors, he's 29 years old.
Okay, and he came in 2010 or 9 or 10.
If you've been in the league 9 years,
okay,
it's about $2.3 million.
So, dude, you could sign him. So then, what's 10?
Somebody would take him for more than that.
So what's 10 plus then? 10 would be what? 2.5.
2.5.
Dude, you sign him for $3 million, and it doesn't touch you in the penalty. You say Derek, because you know Derek wants to be here. You know the camaraderie. What is that?
Camaraderie?
Thank you. Between Derek, Joe, Donovan. You know the love they have for each other. You know the relationship between Derek and Quinn Snyder and the staff. You know that Derek Favors can compete with this in the system defensively that Quinn Snyder set up because he's familiar with it and he has proven it. Even when Rudy Gobert was out, you could get Derek Favors for $3 million. That's $500,000 above what you should be getting paid, and and play him some good minutes, healthy minutes where he's not being overwhelmed physically. And you still get productivity out of him. You ship off Ed Davis. What was Ed Davis? Do you have his
salary?
Yeah, where's he at right now?
Ed Davis, he earned about 4.7 this year. He's set to earn 5.
Yeah.
Next.
Ship him out, pay your $2.4 million or whatever you got to pay it out, and get rid of him.
Or use him in a trade.
Oh yeah, there you go. Who's going to take him though? Maybe can you use him in a trade and get cash out of it, and just say, hey, will you just take the $5 million from us, and then you'll take care of the contract, or at least and then we can save the money to pay Derek Favors.
Use him in a trade to go find another 3-and-D guy. That's where Royce needs help. Royce can be more effective if he knows that he can take a break and not always have to draw the best guy on the other team.
Royce needs to go.
No, he doesn't.
You need to trade Royce O'Neal. Trade Royce O'Neal. Where's he at right now contract-wise?
Royce O'Neal is in his 3rd year?
Give or take. And
he is drawing night in and night out the most dynamic player on the other team.
And you know what? He got burnt all playoff long. And you know what? He actually got burnt during the last, He got burnt most of the bubble. What's his contract like?
He's under contract through 2022-23 season.
Holy fetch. Okay.
With an option, non-guaranteed option in 23-24.
So how much is it total? Is he 9 or is he 8?
He's earning 1.6 this year, then it moves up to 8.5, 8.8, 9.2, and then 9.5.
Okay. So you trade him and have someone else take the baggage of that contract. That'll be straight up. If Royce is as good as you say, someone will take that and his baggage of money and pay for it. You save a ton of money, and a guy who was a liability offensively and was okay defensively. Find me another 3-and-D guy who can actually get the job done. Doesn't look like he's on ice skates. And dude, because look, Royce looked horrible in games 5, 6, and 7 defensively. He looked bad. Like, you kind of saw Royce get exposed for what he is.
It was uncharacteristic for Royce. He's usually a really good defender. Look, but there are a lot of 3-and-D guys out there I think the Jazz can get.
Absolutely. Let's see. Juwan Morgan's a rookie, right? You might as well just keep him for the, $2 million or whatever?
Super cheap.
Yeah.
He's less than $1 million.
Another question. George Niang, do you know what he's at? Do you have numbers on him?
He's got an expiring contract, a non-guaranteed contract for next year, but he's at 1.6.
Get rid of him. Ship him. And the money. Get rid of George Niang. He ain't doing anything for you either.
Emmanuel Mudiay has an expiring contract. And then there's a bunch of guys who have non-guaranteed contracts for next year. Nigel Williams-Goss, Mie Oni, Juwan Morgan, and Rajon Tucker. Okay,
so I keep Juwan Morgan. Rajon Tucker is kind of an interesting cat. I don't think he's been given the experience that he needs. I think he needs to stick around, as does...
I'd keep Mie Oni, too.
Yeah, I keep Yoni. And he's not going to kill your bank either. I mean, again, those are... So what do you combine? Those guys are around $7 million, give or take, combined.
Which ones?
Tucker, Morgan, and Oni. What are they, around 7?
No, each one makes less than $1 million.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah.
Rajon Tucker made about $500,000.
Okay, pay all those cats. Yeah, just pay them what there is and keep them here. I think they'll develop nicely. Get rid of Royce and the money. Get rid of George Niang and the money. Get rid of Ed and the money. That sets you up financially to get your 3-and-D guy that you really want, that'll be productive and actually play defense, but yet, Eric, score offensively, which is what you're supposed to do on the offensive side.
But if you get rid of Royce, you have no other 3-and-D guy.
That's where you work in a guy like Juwan Morgan. Juwan Morgan came along nicely. No, you can. You absolutely can.
Well, then let's keep Bradley and let's develop him.
No.
What happened to you can't develop players?
You can't. Bradley has had his chances.
You are spinning in circles, Ajay
Bradley's
Salvesen.
had his chances, and he's absolutely gotten worse.
And they're very pleased with him, how he's doing in his 1 year.
They're not. Could they be pleased? Bradley can't even catch a bounce pass from Donovan Mitchell. And he's so soft defensively. Nothing good's coming out of him. Hey, do you pay Jordan? Okay, what was Jordan Clarkson at again?
Clarkson has an expiring contract. It's about $13.5 million.
Pay him, right?
I think you try to keep him.
It depends what he's asking for now.
I think it depends on what he asks for.
What do you think he asked for? Can he ask for anything?
I
mean,
think
look, the
he
guy
would
just got
ask
traded
for
from
something
Cleveland.
Similar.
Because Donovan Mitchell's going to be available for $170 million 5 years. That's what his
You
rookie.
pay him more than Joe Ingles? Because Joe next year is going to get 10.8.
Yeah, I pay more than Joe. Joe's not productive as Jordan Clarkson is.
I disagree. Joe does a lot of other things. A lot of offense runs through Joe. He rebounds, he defends, he has assists.
He defends? Really?
Yeah, he does.
Man, do you have some film on it? I'd love to see Joe defending. That'd be cool.
He does defend.
I would love to see Joe Ingles defend. That'd be awesome. Look, Joe's getting up there. He's tired. He's getting older. Jordan Clarkson's got bungees. He's got energy. I like Jordan Clarkson a little bit more than Joe now. If you would ask me 2 years ago, I'm taking Joe Ingles. Now, Jordan Clarkson. Now, Donovan Mitchell, again, reports are saying this is being confirmed by Chris Haynes. The Utah Jazz will offer a rookie max contract to Donovan Mitchell when free agency starts. Now, that won't begin until October, but Eric, that's 5 years, $170 million. You pay 5 years and $189 million to Rudy Gobert, and then you build around it. Jordan Clarkson. Give me a 3-and-D guy who's going to be helpful offensively. I like what the 3-and-D thing. Helpful offensively, though. Juwan Morgan, young. Jordan Clarkson, bench scorer. Build around that. Get rid of Niang. Get rid of the baggage of Ed Davis, Tony Bradley, or just ship Tony Bradley to the G League and let him sit there and think about a second career option like McDonald's.
You're salty because they lost.
No,
take some time to think about it.
I want to see the team get better because the team got
but
worse.
But Ajay, the Jazz as an organization, and most organizations, they draft young players. And they have to develop. They want to develop those young players.
In 2015,
as they come into the league, there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve, Ajay. They're not going to come in and dominate. Those are top-tier players.
In 2014-15, I believe it was, or 15-16, when we went to the playoffs and beat the Clippers in 7, we had Joe Johnson and George Hill. Two key guys. You know what? They were at the end of their careers. They were on the downhill. Young guys don't help. Some do, but most don't. Tony Bradley's not going to help you. George Niang's not going to help you. Ed Davis isn't going to help you. We figured that out already. We've seen proof of that with 3 guys. Jordan Clarkson, who's actually considered on getting onto the veteran side, helped us. Royce O'Neal, I know he's in his 3rd year, but offensively, he looks lost. Defensively, he is getting cooked by guys that he shouldn't be getting beat by. But you're not willing to pay... Okay, so wait, you're willing to pay Royce O'Neal, but you're not going to pay Rudy Gobert $189 million just below the extension or the Supermax, or even $221 million when he's bailed out Royce O'Neal time and time again?
I said I would pay Rudy. I would not pay him the Supermax.
How much would you pay him? Between the options of 133 and 144 million, or it's going to be 189.
What is that per year?
In 5 years.
He's earning 26.5 right now.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 25 right now. He's going to earn 26.5 next year.
Geez, if you're going to give Donovan Mitchell $170 million in 5 years on a rookie max, you better be paying Gobert just a little bit more than that, considering what he's done.
The other thing, too, and we need to move on, but the other thing to consider in all of this discussion is that there's wide uncertainty throughout the NBA about what their financials are going to look like for the next several years.
Yeah.
So the contracts, the luxury tax, the collective bargaining agreement are probably all going to have to be adjusted significantly.
Yeah, majorly, absolutely.
So,
but again, I think you're in that you don't know how long you're going to have Donovan. 9315 with Ajay's logic, as we need to get Sam Merrill, and then the Jazz are golden. Why would we keep developing the people we have, or why can't we keep developing the people we have? Because some of those people haven't developed, and they've been given opportunities. Bojan,
when you have a really good starting five, those guys are not going to get many chances to develop in a regular.
We don't have a really good
NBA
starting
situation.
five.
The Jazz don't have a good starting five. They were plus 24 against Denver.
Great against Denver, but what about in the regular season when Mike Conley was minus what?
Anytime
almost on
any
average?
bench player came on with them, they were really bad.
Okay, so wait, one bench player with the starting lineup makes it bad? Because Mike Conley wasn't good. Let's be honest. Bojan was great.
For the first half of the season, maybe a little beyond the half, Mike Conley did struggle. I'm absolutely going to agree with that. But he developed. He got into the system. He figured it out. He felt comfortable, and he was great.
Joe Ingles, better off the bench or as a starter?
With the current lineup that they have now, he's better starting.
Really? Okay, so with Bojan back in the lineup, though, you would say what?
With Bojan starting, I would probably have Royce the first guy off the bench.
So Joe's still starting?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in that case, he's worth the $10 million or whatever it is. If he's coming off the bench, I pay him $8 million. I reduced the contract.
Because when they had him coming off the bench, he wasn't as effective. They experimented with that through part of the year.
So wait, what's your start with Mike, Donovan, Bojan, Rudy, and who?
And Joe.
So Joe's starting. And you, man, that's wow. Okay. I don't know if that's a quality starting lineup.
I think it depends on the matchup too.
You need
what your opponent looks like.
You need scores coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And you got one scorer, Jordan Clarkson. Royce O'Neal's not a scorer.
He can.
No, he can't.
When his primary job isn't to defend.
His primary job's always to defend. He's always to defend. When has it ever been not to defend? When has it ever been
That's
like,
why they call him a
Royce,
3 and D.
We need 20 points from you. Here we go, buddy. Let's do it.
You can pop the 3, but you got the primary defensive assignment.
That's never been the case. He's not good enough to do that. Get rid of Royce and give me a guy who can score off the bench instead of just Clarkson. Because if we got I don't need a defensive guy. I need a scorer at this point. In this league, in this day and age, I need a scorer. And Royce isn't that guy. Get rid of that. And get rid of the money, too. Give me a guy who can score. We have plenty of those in the league available coming up in October.
That are willing to come off the bench.
Yeah.
And you pay him a lot of money to come off the bench.
No, you don't pay him a lot of money. Whatever Royce was getting, you can pay that guy to come off the bench.
But only guys who are proven, and you don't want to develop anybody.
Again,
you just want to spend money
in 15 and 16.
Go get guys.
We didn't develop anybody.
But also pay
we
supermax contracts
and it worked.
to multiple players.
We just ran into a 73-9 Warriors basketball team who was just a machine.
I'd hate to see how you balance your checkbook.
I'm telling you, I'd hate to see you general manage a team. You have 7 Royce O'Neals. And you're underpaying the back-to-back defensive player of the year.
We're way overdue. We got to take a time out here on the Full Court Press.
The new home for the Full Court Press. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
A Big Ten source said nothing has changed. Nothing. We have to get all the medical questions answered before we can even bring back a plan to the president for approval. And that is the key.
That was Heather Dinich.
Dude, I'm so tired of this.
There was speculation that after President Trump inserted himself into the Big Ten debate, that and even after the Big Ten commissioner seemed to appreciate the call and there's some of his reactions following, it looked like maybe there's a way forward to get the Big Ten going this fall. Well, now they're saying, hold your horses. Nothing's changed. In fact, some Big Ten presidents are pretty adamant that they are further entrenched in their opinions now because they don't want to be a political pawn for President Donald Trump. But if they can figure something out, we already know that there are 3 schools that really want to get moving. Others, coaches and athletic directors, also want to get moving. In fact, Ohio State practiced in pads today.
Really? Oh, jeez.
But if the Big Ten can figure something out to resume their football season, and Dan Patrick today saying October 10th is kind of the hard deadline on whether or not they could get something going this fall or not. Is there a path forward for the Mountain West? Could they adopt something similar?
I don't know. I think the Mountain West is kind of in the situation of like, look, we've already said we're going to cancel. I think some players are worried about playing like in November on Thanksgiving weekend, whenever they start. Look, to start, and I don't get it as well, even with the Big Ten, Eric. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and we talked about this before, Indiana, these places, like, it's not like it's Hawaii in February. It's winter. It is dead cold, raw winter. It is snowing 4 to 5 inches, and sometimes you look on like national news, and it's 12 inches of snow in one night. And that's not an exaggeration. That's real. I don't think players really want to go out there and be like, hey, let's go hit each other in mid-February weather.
Well, the benefit of the Big Ten is that they have 3 NFL stadiums that are enclosed in their footprint.
But will those NFL teams allow them to compete in those stadiums with all COVID protocols being the way they are? They're not even allowing fans, question. For heaven's sakes.
Now, if the Mountain West were to try to do something, what do with cold weather teams? Do you relocate to and play your games in UNLV? Do you play in their indoor arena or in Sam Boyd? You got 2 football stadiums in Las Vegas. Do you hold double headers in both of those locations? I think at that point it would be just playing football just to play football. And I don't think it would really fulfill what you normally would want to do during a regular football season.
Yeah.
So my guess is the Mountain West is looking at, look, we're going to save money by not traveling, by not doing some of these things we would normally do. There's going to be a financial loss, but we're not going to make it any worse by trying to play these games.
Yeah, it's just, there's so much uncertainty. It's so unorganized. And you know what? The Big Ten looks like an absolute joke. They really do. They look really,
every week they look more dysfunctional.
The Pac-12 is just sitting there laughing right now. You kind of wonder what the Pac-12's reaction would be. They're laughing.
Well, I think the SEC, the ACC, those are the ones that are laughing the hardest.
Hey, 9315, I think it'd be more issues with the California schools and some of the regulations more than anything. You're right.
It's a true point. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow. Hopefully we're feeling better.